My name is Gerald Clift. I'm a Placerville resident, and I'm here to request that we mitigate lead exposure from the Placerville Airport. First, I'm going to talk about the lead aviation fuel's effects on children within a half mile of an airport. And next, I'll discuss what some other airports have done to address this issue. And lastly, I'll request that we use unleaded fuel for our fiscal year 2023-2024 contract. There is no safe level of lead exposure for children. Multiple studies have shown this over and over and over again. Last year, County of Santa Clara completed a study that found that children within a half mile of their airport had lead levels that exceeded those of Flint, Michigan at the height of the crisis. And in some cases were double that exposure. Now, I know our county is not, airport is not as busy as Santa Clara counties, but these studies findings are consistent with studies from the University of Chicago, Duke University, and others. Now, the airports have been looking at ways to mitigate lead exposure, and ways have varied, but largely it's been unleaded fuel. 2/3 of the piston engine aircraft that are operating in this country can use the existing unleaded fuel, UL 94, and 3 airports have already switched to that entirely. Another 70 airports, according to the Wall Street Journal, are using both leaded and unleaded fuel for their airports. This movement has happened of 3 things. The studies I mentioned, the congressional hearing in July titled Toxic Air, How Leaded Aviation Fuel is Poisoning America's Children, and the EPA's announcement last month they would like to propose a public health hazard due to lead aviation fuel, which is covered extensively by the Washington Post, Fox News, Reuters, and other periodicals. Some airports have even considered looking into paying pilots difference in costs. Now, the unleaded fuel that I mentioned is only using can only be used in 2/3 of piston aircraft, but it was reported by the Washington Post, MSN, Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, and others last month that a new fuel was just approved by the FAA that can be used for the entire piston fleet. Now, Supervisor Thomas, I greatly appreciate you reached out to staff on this issue, but with respect to that staff member, they incorrectly told you that it was not FAA approved. I reached out to the FAA and provided a statement here that they explicitly state is FAA approved, and I provided some news articles addressing it as well. I've spoken to several airports that are getting this fuel next year. I've also spoken to the president of the company who want to provide this fuel to us due to our airport's proximity to a K-8 school and Lions Park. Their distributor, AvFuel, is already being used to provide leaded fuel for Auburn, Sacramento, Truckee, and more. Please do what you can to switch us to unleaded fuel. In terms of costs, this is 60 to 85 cents a gallon more expensive. And I know for cars, we ask that commuters pay more, but if the county wanted to pay the difference based on Placerville Airport's fuel estimates, it'd be between $17,000 and $24,000 a year for the county to pay the difference of fuel costs. Now, FAA testing has shown this is less of an explosive risk than lead fuel, has additional benefits to pilots such as reduced spark plug maintenance and less frequent oil changes. Please purchase unleaded fuel next year. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, there was a couple issues raised. Supervisor Thomas, you wanted to follow up with?
Mr. Cliff, thank you for your comments. Nice to meet you in person, and I look forward to reviewing that. And I have been engaging with staff on this issue, and we'll continue to follow up with that on that issue.
Very good.